The following podcast contains spoilers and explicit language. Listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to Animated Anarchy, where we take a critical look at animated features of all kinds to determine the good and the bad. Hello, I'm Andrew Dickman. And I'm also with
Mike Ruocco.
And you are absolutely ecstatic about the movie that the movie we saw today. And honestly, this kind of came unplanned. I mean, we had like other plans for today, but
and this movie just shot it down.
Yeah, well,
this was our fallback, which is not.
This was a fallback. Well, the thing is like I thought about, you know, I've been wanting you to talk about this movie for a while now, because let's just face it, you have this weird fascination with this film.
So, wait, hold on.
It's
let me with cinema, with movies, there are people in this world who want to know how some of the greatest movies ever got made. Citizen Kane, Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, Fantasia, Snow White, Ben-Hur, all these great movies. God. Rover Dangerfield is a movie that there's some good elements, there's bad elements, but overall, I just want to know everything as to how and why it got made. Like
all the W's.
Everything. I just want to know how and why it got made. Like, yeah. It's one of those. It's one of those conundrums. It's honestly like, here's the thing. It's the simplest movie to describe. It's so simple. Rodney Dangerfield as a dog.
Is a dog.
That's the movie.
That's the movie.
I love this movie.
Well, here's the thing. You have like ever since I've known you.
I think the first thing I said to you was, "Hey, Andrew, nice to meet you. Hey, have you ever heard of Rover Dangerfield?"
No, well, it's kind of weird. It's like ever since I've known you, you've kind of like you've hinted at this the sheer amazement that you have about this movie, and every once in a while, it's like, well, at first it's like I didn't really think anything of it. I just thought it was like, oh, you think this is a silly movie, and it's like that's what most people think. It's like it's a dumb cartoon that like was made somehow, and we really think nothing of it. No, but it's like the more I've known you, piece by piece, I've noticed you are a fanatic. You are like, you made a blog about basically
Rover Danger Frames.
Yes, of just taking screenshots of this movie.
It sounds really sad, but I am oddly obsessed with this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just, it's
the
like
history,
I said,
the people involved.
I want to know. Like, I've met people, I've worked with people who worked on this movie.
I've worked with people too that have worked on this movie, but it's like I
want to know all the stories. And usually it's like, well, I worked on this movie for like a summer as an intern, and I animated a few scenes, and there was nothing really. And it's like, oh no, tell me did Rodney ever come in like? Just like in his bathrobe, was he like? Did he come in and be like, "Hey, what are you guys up to today? Hey, that's great. It's me. I can see myself as a dog. This is great. Keep up the good work." Like, I want to know, like, because
I want to know how the people are.
I want to know what the people did. It's an enigma, and it's amazing because it's such a. The movie the polish on it is so good.
The polish.
It had merchandise.
It did.
It had toys and figurines and ornaments and a lunchbox.
Yeah, it's one of those. No, I remember looking up. There is like Rover Dangerfield merchandise.
There's a mug.
There's a mug.
I want it. I want a cabinet in my kitchen filled with just Rover mugs.
Oh my god! I can't even imagine you having more than one. You want a whole cabinet full of them? I'm gonna open up one of your cabinets. I'm gonna see like all these like wall-eyed dogs looking right at me.
That's exactly why I want like.
You just want someone to open up the cabinet and have these wall-eyed dogs like looking at you. It's like, oh my god! I'm in a homicidal maniac's house. I need to get out.
It's funny. I just recently. I just moved into a new apartment about 4 months ago. And
you have so much shelf space.
I got a bunch of movie posters. And I have ones that are beautiful movie posters, ones that are like I have hanging in my living room.
Yeah.
And then I have my guest bathroom, which is downstairs.
I love how your guest bathroom is the place you will put all your terrible movie posters.
I just last week
facing the people that are using the bathroom.
Coincidentally, last week I bought on eBay an original Rover Dangerfield movie poster. It cost me like maybe $6. Because that's all it's worth.
Oh, man.
And I got a frame. And so when you go into my guest bathroom and you sit down and you look up, it's just Rover in your face.
And right next to it is Over the Hedge.
I got an Over the Hedge poster.
There was like a backstory about that. I mean, like... We went into a place where they were it was
called Video Symphony in Burbank.
Yeah, and it used to be like a college.
It was a school to teach people about editing and special effects work, like computer compositing.
Yeah, and I guess they were going out of business, and I went there to get a Mac.
You bought a brand new.
I bought a brand new Macintosh, like iMac monitor.
You actually called it a Macintosh?
Listen, I grew up in the '80s. All right,
that's true. It's like, because I'm not saying this isn't 1987 anymore.
But of all the things that you asked, hey, are you going to sell that Over the Hedge poster framed on the wall?
I had a plan the whole time. I looked at that thing and said that would look great in my guest bathroom.
In the guest bathroom, it's like, hey, why don't you come into my house?
Go to the bathroom. Go freshen up, and they just go. The lights are off. They walk in, and the first thing they see is Rover's face.
You need to have like
Bruce Willis as a raccoon.
You need to have like some sort of just lights that will fixate just on the poster, and they'll like turn on like brightly, like no other light will turn on except for on that poster. So, this fascination that you have, and I did buy you a plush, and it didn't get to you.
Yeah, it got lost.
And got lost, but then you actually got one afterwards.
When I worked on Wabbit, my friend Erica, who is a character designer on it, she, for my, I guess it was like a late birthday present, she gave me a gift bag.
Yeah.
And inside...
staring at you
was a nasty looking plush of Rover.
Yeah,
pencils with plastic pencil toppers of Rover on them.
I still can't believe that there's that much merchandise.
And an ornament like a keychain. And I'm like, wow, you gave me the gift of no respect. That's what you gave me, and I love it. And the thing is, also, this is going to be when it comes out.
It's a dog's life, and you love it.
And even to the point where like. I worked on Wabbit all of season 1. I was a board artist on season 1.
Oh, here we go.
And there are some things come and things go. You have to fight certain battles to want certain things in. The only battle that I fought for, and I won. And you'll find it. There is in one episode of Wabbit.
This is like a tragic tale.
In one episode of Wabbit, if you look closely, you have to just find it. There is Rover Dangerfield in the background.
There's some maniacal, like, genius, like some professor is like, and in the background you will see the clues that I have made for you.
I turn into friggin' Vincent Price. But my
yeah, but it's
crime
true.
is to
But it's true. It's like one of the things that I remember being on Teen Titans Go is like I actually put like Cats Don't Dance and the Iron Giant like in Betamax tapes like,
on their shelf.
Yeah, on the shelf.
Which was such a nice little.
Which was really fun, and it's like and you put Rover Dangerfield.
You'll find them.
Yeah, right.
I'll point it out. Actually, no, I won't point it out. I'll leave it up to
let it up to the viewers,
and I won't tell what episode it's in.
Oh, jeez.
I'll just say it's one of my shows.
So that's going to be one of the clues for you right now.
It's going to take almost a year for all the shorts to air. So good luck finding it.
Have fun.
Have fun. Oh God.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
Yeah, we have to move on because like I'm here.
How do you top this though? I just talked about my
merchandising.
This is just like what do they say? What is that show about my obsession?
I don't even remember this movie coming out in theaters, and it's like I grew I grew up knowing about a lot of animated movies. It's like Cats Don't Dance, I actually didn't see until I was in college.
Yeah.
And I actually knew that was around as like a trailer. I didn't see I couldn't see it in theaters because it wasn't in any of the theaters. Yeah, it was buried. It was like I only remember seeing it on TV as a trailer, and that was it. Rover Dangerfield, I saw nothing about. I saw it in like the Blockbuster or Warehouse shelf as a rental. That's my experience with it. My first time seeing this is like, oh, it's a cute cartoon movie. I'm gonna rent this and I'll watch it. What am I watching here?
I remember,
and I watched other Rover. I watched other Rover Dangerfield movies. No, Rodney Dangerfield movies before this, like Ladybugs and that college movie. I can't remember. He was
Back to School.
I think it was Back to School.
Yeah.
And he's a generally funny person.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's hailed as one of the greatest comedians of our generation, and. What happened in this movie?
The thing is, my first time I ever saw this movie was back when Cartoon Network used to do their Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater.
Yeah, they would.
And
show
it's like
that
coming up.
I couldn't escape it.
He's a wisecracking dog on an adventure. Like, and that's the first time I saw it, and I was like, "What is this movie?" It looks like it looks as kind of polished as a Disney movie. But it's about this wisecracking, kind of ugly dog. What is this about? So it started from there, and then I like kind of almost rediscovered it later, and then I was just sort of like, "What was with that movie?"
Yeah.
And then I went back and watched it, and I was like, "This is a weird movie." And now it's one of those weird it's one of the movies, that one and B Movie are the two movies that I love to introduce to people. Like, I love going to people's houses. I've seen Rover more times than probably the people who've worked on it.
Yeah.
And these are people who have had to sit through and watch editing screenings.
Yeah, I mean, we even had a fun time watching it today because we introduced it to one of my friends who's over visiting for the week, and even. They're like, oh my god, this is awful. Like all the reactions to all these different
my head
scenes.
hurt.
I mean, that is a wonderful feeling.
No, it's great. It's great, introducing people to movies that you know are bad.
Yeah.
Like Birdemic. I remember showing Birdemic to a few people.
It's like Mystery Science Theater. It's like you love to watch those movies just because it's like it opens up a new realm of it
opens up a whole realm of your subconscious, and you're like, this is something I never thought I'd ever perceive, and my brain cannot handle it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this movie.
Okay, let's get into this movie. Okay, so we start off a dog howling at the moon.
A wolf.
A wolf howling at the moon, and we're in the middle of the desert. And the first joke is
he's got cactus thistles in his
butt.
because
he's howling because the cactus.
How many are there?
Yeah, and
then
it's actually a really it's an interesting scene where it's like the CG.
It looks like the opening of Rescuers Down Under with that and you're zooming
in, and there's a jackrabbit that comes in, and
and then Star Wars. It looks for one moment it looks
goes
like
into the canyon.
The Death Star battle where it just and then it
goes right up to Las Vegas, Las Vegas.
I
love this town,
and it begins with Rodney as Rover introducing himself, narrating this movie. And he's playing.
This is me.
And then it really does begin. The whole movie just he's in an alley playing with dice.
Yeah.
And betting bones with other dogs.
It's basically what would it be like if a dog was in Vegas? Would he? Yeah, he would be a chronic gambler.
Yeah. It would be, and then you kind of are introduced you're introduced to the character by him just assaulting you with jokes, dog jokes. There's one joke that bugs me.
Like puns.
Yeah. I mean, there's one line where he's I'm sorry, I didn't know you were a poodle. That's not really a joke.
It's more of an observation. It's that joke kind of bothers me as well. It's like, oh, excuse me, I didn't know you were a poodle. It's like he says I love your pom-poms. I'm not sure what, maybe it's and even as an adult, I'm not sure I understand that joke. No. It's like one of those things where you would think oh, it goes over your head because you're a young kid.
There's a couple lines in the movie where you're like, as a kid, I didn't get it, but now I get it. There was one that bugged me later on in the movie. There's a bunch of sheep, and he dives into some corn, and before he gets hit by a corn husker machine, which says the obvious joke in the movie. I'm turning into a corn dog.
Yeah, I mean, well, that joke,
which is like, yeah, that's a simple joke. But then he says to the sheep, "Huh, there must be a sale somewhere."
Right.
And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, what does that mean? It's like, and
well, that one is even badly timed.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it happened.
The sheep are gone.
The sheep are gone. And then he's like looking around, observing, and it's like, he just thought of that joke, like right there in that moment.
He's ad-libbing throughout a movie.
Yeah, so it didn't really work
yeah.
that well. But there's a lot of that.
Right.
You know, it's like, I think it's just bad timing. Because there are some pretty genuine jokes. I mean, there's some groaners, but then there's some that just like go right over your head, and some that don't even sound like a joke.
Yeah, some are just more like just sort of funny
it's just
statements.
Rodney Dangerfield saying something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, as a dog, you know?
Yeah, as a dog, which is actually surprisingly the same as how he says it as a human.
Right.
So it's like, hey, you know, I'm a dog, and I'm going to make
But there
dog
is
jokes.
a lot of observational humor, like, as a dog. Like, would a dog actually be saying this about himself or his kind?
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, like there's generally decent jokes. Like, it's like, you know, when he oh god, like when he visited those circus dogs, like, I guess there's like performer animals, like somewhere that he meets, and they're like, hey, you're in town, hey, I haven't seen you in a. It's like, I guess he worked with them at some point or something.
And then it begins with like, you know, so-and-so was dumb. He's so dumb, blankety blank. And it's like, okay, you're leading up into these. And he makes, you know, pretty, I mean.
Those are pretty funny. But it's like, what kind of ruins it for me is that every animal there is like laughing maniacally.
That's
like,
a joke that you maybe lightly chuckle at.
Yeah, that is like it's, to these animals, it's the funniest thing in the world. It's like they don't know any other comedy.
The one dog is even like, I mean, it's funny how they react.
Just hate. It's like,
yeah,
like he's
it's
in
funny
pain.
because he makes a joke where he's just sort of like, it's like, hey, he went when he was paper trained, you know, he went right on the paper, but he was still reading, and then you just hear the dogs in the back going, and you just hear these dogs like uproariously laughing.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, the joke really wasn't that funny, but
yeah. So we're at that point where it's like, okay, we're introduced to Rover. We're introduced to his friends, who I guess are all gamblers. There's like a dog who steals his poodle girlfriends or something. It's like, it's all the Las Vegas tropes, you know.
Yeah,
it's
a guy who bets, and he bets too much, and the guy's like, you know, take the money and go. No, and then
he's basically a city dog in Vegas. It's very. Then it goes into a song, like
which is one of several songs.
Do you yes, this is a musical movie. And the song is, It's a Dog's Life and I Love It. And tell me, this song was written by Rodney Dangerfield.
All the songs in the movie were written by Rodney Dangerfield.
Which is, you can tell he's not really a songwriter.
I mean, he performs them well. He sings like a lounge singer.
I guess. I mean,
yeah, it's glorified him talking.
Well, yeah, it's glorified talking.
Which is really singing when you think about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the lines are very, like, the lyrics aren't very clever, or they're very simplistic.
Yeah,
like
very simplistic. And I was, like, thinking about this throughout all the songs. It's like, they sound like something I've heard before.
Like Broadway standard versions of songs.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, it's like they're trying to be that, but it almost feels like they just all out took the song.
And just change the lyrics.
Yeah. So
they're very reminiscent of something that you may or may not have heard before.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
You can't.
All the songs are like that, though.
Yeah.
All of them, and I can't really place them on the top of my head because, like, I haven't really heard a whole lot of Broadway musicals or anything like that. But I know that I feel that I've heard this kind of song before.
Yeah.
So. And with the lyrics, it's like they're not really that clever. It's just like very simple rhyming and stuff like that. So it's like, and Rodney's singing, it's just not really helpful to it. Honestly,
it doesn't really sell the idea.
No. He's not really a singer. He's a better comedian than he is like a
so
song.
They sing this forgettable song, and then he goes and meets with it's his owner's birthday, and he brings a flower.
Owner's birthday is a
name is
dancer. Connie, and she is like a Las Vegas performer, like one of those background dancers,
chorus girl dancers,
with the feathers and stuff like that. And it's like, it's, you know, I mean, that's that's neat. I mean, like, it's
Yeah.
like it's the dog of a Vegas
showgirl.
performer.
Yeah.
And
then we're introduced to the what is, I guess, the villain of the movie,
He's
who's
the
only
villain.
he's only in the movie.
He's in the beginning and then in the end.
He's collectively in the movie for maybe all of 7 minutes throughout the hour and
his name
15 minutes.
And his name is Rocky.
Rocky.
And this guy bothers me so much because, listen, I'm gonna say that he is like a genuinely ugly character, and that's fine because he's a villain, but his design compared to everything else in this movie is probably the most distant to the main designs of anything.
He looks like he was pushed through like a Play-Doh square peg.
He is made of squares.
Yeah.
He is like, he was genuinely made
chiseled.
of squares.
He looks like a Mount Rushmore, like a tiki.
And he's animated really well.
It's animated fantastically well.
I really almost wish that all of the human characters had his style, because to me it feels very Broadway-ish. Like a Broadway New York poster. Like how it's very Art Deco-ish and stuff like that.
He definitely has that kind of air.
Yeah, so it's like, I almost want to feel like that would have been a great style for many of the background characters. And then you have the animal characters who are very like goofy and cartoony and like just general caricatures of humans, Yeah. But they didn't, and there is a lot of that with the animals in the beginning of this, because you have like the Bebop glasses.
Yeah, he looks like the Bebop.
He's like a blind guy. Like, I guess he's blind. I have no idea. But
he's just wearing. No, he's not blind. He's probably just wearing those those shaded
like
glasses.
But it's like a Ray Charles sort of look to him.
Yeah, I think he's just wearing sunglasses. I don't think he's blind.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a whole bunch of other characters like him.
They're dressed up because they're like these Vegas.
Well, they're
dogs.
circus performers, but it's like they're caricaturized. They're very like if a human was an animal, how would it look like? And I mean,
Rover's probably the most extreme in the movie,
because it's Rodney Dangerfield. It's Rodney Dangerfield as a dog who. And as an observation, looks like the Critic, like Jay Sherman, you mentioned to me a while ago.
If you stretched dog skin over it. Yeah.
But here's another thing. We had to talk about how much the design changes on Rover Dangerfield throughout this entire film.
Like usually,
almost
the movie
every
overall,
scene.
For all the other characters, it's extremely consistent.
Generally,
because the designs are very, because they're not none of the animal characters or the human characters are really specific looking. I don't want to say that they're bland or anything. It's more like,
but they do.
The style is very simple and homogenized compared to someone like Rover, who is supposed to look exactly like Rodney Dangerfield as a dog. He's a caricatured character to the point where, I guess, because we found out that. There were a lot of sequence directors on this movie, a lot of people who would just do sequences and they would take them and do them. And then, so the model sheet for Rover must have just got lost.
Yeah.
Because some people draw Rover where he looks like the Target, the mascot dog for Target.
Yeah.
He's got this long snout.
And he has a big, there's sometimes where it looks like his head is detached from his body a little bit. Like it's a little bigger than his body.
And then there's some scenes where he's kind of, probably the person,
and when especially when he walks on his hind legs. I mean, there's moments where he
grows in size. From shot to shot.
Right. So there are moments where he's like walking on his hind legs, and it's kind of weird when you see him walk like that,
because he waddles like a balloon.
Yeah,
he walks like a balloon.
like a sloshing water balloon. Sack of water.
Yeah, because sometimes he's really like saggy like a basset hound, where his fat and his muscles and are hanging off him. Then there's scenes where
they treat him like a sack of dirt. Actually, it's like
a bag of manure.
I mean, that's and to the animator's credit, I mean, that's really neat.
Yeah,
especially when he looks like he has that kind of girth to him, so he's like when he's flopping around like over his bed or something like that, you feel that energy and the weight.
You feel that there is flesh.
Yeah,
it feels fleshy.
And he's like this flabby dog that is like just covered in wrinkles.
Horribly obese dog.
Yeah, horribly obese.
But like there's some scenes where like, because there's a lot of really
Horribly
top
obese.
name animators and directors and people who worked on it. A lot of people. I worked with some people who were layout supervisors and people who I worked with a couple people on Wabbit.
Yeah.
Who apparently worked on this movie. I had no idea. Every time I watch this movie, I learn something new.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like one of the animators on the movie is, and he was a director and a designer too. Bruce Smith, who
he's one of my favorite.
Yeah,
animators,
he's I love his anime. I mean, he created the Proud Family and animated Dr. Facilier.
Yes,
and Prince
one of
and the
my
Frog,
favorite
directed
performances.
Bebe's Kids. He did a lot. I mean, he's an amazing
He's amazing
animator.
talent.
And his stuff of Rover is very close to, it looks like Rodney.
Yeah.
It's animated really well. It's broad. It meets all that quality. I mean, sometimes the character's almost too close to Rodney, where it's animated a little too well.
Yeah.
which is not, I mean, I can't say that that's an
I
insult.
I pointed this out to you. It was like there's a scene where Rover Dangerfield is walking across the casino, and I pointed, like, hey, there's that caricature of Rodney Dangerfield in
Right
the
above
background.
him.
Right, just right there, out in the open. And you didn't notice that.
Because I'm looking at the fact that there is a really flabby, because we're saying, what the point is that we're getting is that from shot to shot or from scene to scene, Rover's design fluctuates to extreme sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
He's really fat, he's really flabby, he's really bulbous.
There was moments where he was like really barrel-chested.
His
for
eyes
some
are really
reason.
tiny, his eyes get really beady.
Yeah.
His nose gets really long,
Yeah,
his snout gets-
generally, it was very inconsistent. And you have to wonder, it's like if they lost.
Each director drew the character a certain way, and then
I
they
guess.
kind of just... Because that's what I imagine. But all the other characters, like even the other dogs on the farm, the boy, the girl dog, there's no real fluctuation in design. It's really Rover. That's that's really the problem area.
Yeah, because I don't see that problem with any other character. I mean, outside of Rocky, to me, well, Rocky and Connie both are kind of like in that realm of very chiseled looking character
Connie,
design.
not so much.
Not so much.
She looks very
she's
much
still-
like the boy and the farmer dad.
Yeah, but I mean, like, comparing that to the farmer characters, I would say that there's a big disconnect in like the designs themselves.
I mean, I think with
Connie could have been pushed a little bit more, but I still see that kind of Las Vegas air to these characters.
Like, I have a feeling that Rocky, because there's not many scenes of Rocky in the movie.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Rocky probably was handled by one guy.
Yeah.
And they
Really well.
Whoever did it amazingly well. Like,
Yeah.
the animation of the character is fantastic. Like, the character moves great, he acts great, the performance is
well,
great.
it's really cool because it's like it's kind of weird how I'm fascinated by this character and the way he moves and everything, because he has a lot of perspective to him. Like, sometimes he's like really stretched backwards.
He's reaching towards the camera.
Yeah,
it's
it's like
perspective.
in terms of like a dog's perspective, you see him like very towering, like he's very looming and like very very intimidating man. You know, that is like what did you say? He was the guy from Full House.
He looks like John Stamos.
Yeah, he looks like a greasy
He looks
John
like a greasy,
Stamos.
chiseled John Stamos. Like, he probably would have fit perfectly in a movie, say, like The Incredibles.
Yeah.
Or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's
Because he's
true.
a very chiseled design. But then you see all these other really... Even characters that are more masculine characters, like the head farmer. Mm-hmm. He looks really like sculpted. Like, he doesn't belong... Almost doesn't belong in that universe, which is a shame because he's one of the best animated things in the movie. Yeah, is that character consistently? Mm-hmm. So
moving on
to the story, because
so apparently Rocky is like, you know, that Rodney Rover thinks like, oh, I don't know what she sees in him, because there's obviously something wrong with the guy. He's probably like on drugs.
He seems
or something.
very crooked.
He's like he seems like a guy who would want to get into the mafia somehow. And sure enough, you find out that he is trying to make like some sort of deal.
He's a small time crook with these big mafia guys.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know how exactly this works, but it's like he tries to make this deal, like he wants money for this jewelry that he stole.
Apparently he stole diamonds and he's supposed to get money.
Yeah,
and they bring money.
And Rover and the other dog, Eddie, is like they are overlooking this. And it's like, oh, it's another one
in
of
a
his bum
basement, and
deals.
they're in a little window above looking down.
Yeah, and somehow it's like, I guess they drop a bone and it like knocks on the light, and these mafia guys just like immediately jump. They're like insanely paranoid about everything.
I mean, even when
it's the cops. Oh, we gotta get out of here.
Even earlier when they get in the room, they just like scream like, "Rocky, are you there?" It's like very subtle,
and
guys.
He bursts into the door with a gun in his hand, like, "Rocky, are you there?" It's like
not very good crooks.
Yeah.
I mean.
So something, yeah. Well, anyway, they
botched the deal.
Basically botched the deal, and Rocky looks up and notices that it's Rover, and he gets pissed off. It's like, you ruined my deal. I'm gonna get you, Rover. And that's, I mean, it's very. Why would this guy be so pissed off about these dogs? But at the same time, it's like I could see this guy being that
because his
petty.
Because also first of all, you see that Connie loves Rover.
Loves Rover. And he hates Rocky being the second banana.
Right. Or sometimes to Rover.
Yeah.
And fighting for attention.
Yeah.
Then right after that scene, you cut to Rover, who I guess and since the botched deal,
the transitions to like the next morning where he's in his bed and
clearly hungover.
It's like we missed a scene. Like he got drunk the night before or something.
He had a crazy night in Vegas.
Yeah, because we didn't get any implication of that before. He was gambling and singing about a song. Maybe he could have been drunk. I don't know. But then they see this botched mafia deal. And the next morning, it's just like he's hungover. It's like Connie opens up the lights and he goes like, "Oh God, I'm not all right." Oh. Yeah. I almost wish we could have seen some sort of scene before that where he's just like drinking like out of a wine glass or something.
He drinks out of a toilet.
Yeah, it's a toilet made out of a toilet filled with like vodka. Oh my God. That would have been a great idea. It's like a toilet bowl, but it's like a margarita, and it has like the salt lined out over the lid.
Now, why weren't you on that movie?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
What? You were 5 or 6?
No, I was probably in like early high school when I saw this movie.
You couldn't know.
Yeah.
91?
I saw it. Yeah, well, 91. Yeah, like late. Well, I saw it later. This movie came out in 91.
Oh, you saw it later. I'm saying because when the movie came out,
when the movie came out, I would have been 9.
9 or 10. Well, you could have submitted ideas. That was a great idea. Go back in time and I would have seen that.
I think you should put like
a margarita
in the tub.
You should know what a margarita is, 9-year-old child. But anyway, so he's hungover and he finds out that Connie is
leaving for a trip,
for a very convenient trip. Leaving,
yeah, I guess.
So she's leaving, and Rocky is very not subtle. He's not very subtle with his. I'm gonna take care of Rover, all right. Yeah. I'll make sure he's taken.
He even does like the little like finger,
like he's gonna shoot him. And and Rover doesn't want Connie to leave.
Yeah.
So you get these really weird slapstick moments, and then little cute cartoony moments, and then Connie leaves, and then. Instead of running away, Rover just kind of like
somberly goes back to his bed, and then he's shocked to see Rocky there, like who's about to strangle him, and he like basically like lunges forward, and then he runs away. It's like, oh crap, I'm suddenly in trouble, and then he beats the dog. And next scene where
he's at the
Hoover Dam,
which is, as your friend said when we watched it, the road to the Hoover Dam is a very busy road.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's not like it's a
guard
tourist
towers.
place.
It's a tourist place. It's guard towers. So if someone drove up with a bag and dumped it off the side,
he would get caught.
And it's a middle of the day and no one happens to be there, so it's very convenient for Rocky. So Rover is tied up in a bag,
and he
dumps Rover off the side.
Goodbye, Rover. I'll miss you.
And that's the last you see of Rocky.
That's the last you see of Rocky for the remainder of the movie until the end. And Rover has been in the water for what seems like a day.
Yeah.
It's because there's even like that transition where it's like time has passed.
Time marches
on. And then a fisherman fishes him out. And it's like, oh my God, it's a dog. Is it still alive? Careful now, it might be dangerous. Yes. He's still breathing. How? How is he still alive? after being drowned in water for possibly a long amount of time. I would, and for a dog his size, I'm sure he would not have a lot of breathing power at all either to like hold his breath.
His fat is filled with air.
He is
an air
Rover Dangerfield is full of hot air.
He is a dog.
And that's how he rises up from the water.
Yeah. But so he gets put in the back of this.
He gets put in the back of the car. Yeah.
And they drive supposedly all night. And
so
he doesn't know where he is.
No,
he leaves the truck when they're not looking.
Yeah.
And he ends up in the country near a farm, and he has weird run-ins with.
He's probably hungover again at this point.
No, so he's just like, what's going? Well, I mean, he was tired because he was near drowned. And
hey, which way to Vegas? Vegas.
I don't know what Vegas. And he's just like
weird ass horse.
And he makes and throughout the movie he peppers the movie with little moments of just Rodney isms and little like.
And I will say, like, some are hit, some are miss. I will give Rodney some credit that, he is a good comedian. He can make some good humor. I don't really think it fits with this movie because it's just like, how many things can I think about a dog
on a farm?
Like I'm on a farm.
Yeah,
I'm on a farm.
I think he says that like at least 4 times. He goes, "Hey, I'm on a farm."
He like spends 5 minutes basically like laughing to himself, talking to himself about how he's on a farm.
And his pigs.
I think I'll change my name to Jethro.
What do you think? And like the one joke that is like, I'm going to pay my doctor with a hog, which is like okay. Yeah. I mean, I think he's really because obviously Rover is not from a farm.
No, he's not a country dog. I mean, they're hammering in the fact that he has been living in Las Vegas his entire life. He doesn't know anything about like green.
And he's doing stand up to pretty much nobody.
Yeah, just
yeah. Oh, so
he will just talk to himself. Yeah, for hours.
Right. Oh, but so he's he gets chased by sheep, and then he ends up sucked into a corn husker, and he gets picked up by a boy and his father, who is a farmer.
Yes.
And the boy was played by the late Dana Hill.
Yes.
Who was Max on Goof Troop. Mm-hmm. And doing her little raspy boy voice.
Yeah, and oh my gosh,
Greg Berger is the farmer. Mm-hmm. So it's John Arbuckle and Max Goof running a farm with Rover. So they take Rover to the farm, and he has these moments. He's like, "Hey, I'm on a farm," and makes all these weird statements and makes some really funny faces. I think the one face that people usually gravitate towards when they think of Rover is he goes, "I gotta get out of here."
Yeah, yeah.
And he, and
he has like those wall eyes, like just going like different directions.
Those Rodney Dangerfield eyes.
Yeah, that's the caricature that usually people would go with. I mean, even like with Aladdin, when the genie is doing like, "Oh, hey, I'm losing to a rug." I mean, that's the face.
That's the face. It's the wall eyes and him tugging on.
That's
his tie.
how people. That's the Alex Hirsch drawing of Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh
yeah, it's Hirsch, right?
Yeah,
or Hirschfield.
Al Hirschfeld.
Al Hirschfeld. What did I say? Alex Hirsch?
You said Alex Hirsch.
Yes, I'm sorry. Al Hirschfeld
is bug-eyed and because when I think of bug-eyed. Nasty
bug-eyed nasty. I think of
the bug-eyed nasties.
Oh man, the bug-eyed nasties.
Wow. So anyway,
yeah. So okay, he's on a farm,
and you're introduced to the other farm dogs who really nobody cares about.
No,
there's some twins.
There's Raffles, the sheepdog,
the leader dog who we don't really know by name.
Just has one line,
Rex or something.
Lemon Clem,
who are these basset hounds,
and then there's a bloodhound
dog. But they don't really have personalities except for. Raffles barely has a personality.
Yeah. And here's the thing with me. It's like, I feel they could have been caricaturized a little bit more.
Well, the thing about it is that you have to understand, it's kind of like watching Jim Carrey in a Jim Carrey movie. Mm. If you have characters that are, you don't want them to compete with someone like Jim Carrey.
Right.
So Jim Carrey is crazy while everyone else is looking on like, what the hell?
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield as the dog has to be the focus.
Right, so none of the other characters are really, like, and there's a few characters that are close to being
but then it's like they're more detailed, and they're really, like, their designs are pushed a bit. Lem and Clem have a lot of details on them when you look at them closely.
No, I mean, just the fact that their personalities aren't as strong or as in your face. Like, there
really is no focus on them, but
there's really 3 other characters in this movie, or sets of characters, that really stand out. Along with Rover.
But I want to challenge this to you, because those dogs, they're just dogs. But then you go to things like, there's that chicken that comes up, the
Tress McNeil
the Tress McNeil chicken that is like, honestly one of my favorite characters in that movie, because she's animated so well, and I love Tress McNeil's voice coming out of there.
Yeah.
She's like that huge like woman in the countryside that is just yelling at like
she's
the
like
skinny
a big butch.
Yeah.
She's pretty much the chicken equivalent of the mom of the twins. Phil and Lil from Rugrats.
And she is very caricaturized.
Yeah.
And then you have the wolves, those
Don Bluth wolves.
Don Bluth animated wolves. They are honestly, well, they have like voices that are very caricaturized. Like there's the gummy one where it's like, "Hey, stranger." It's like they're supposed to be
saliva.
They're supposed to be the rednecks of like this movie, you know. It's like let's caricaturize some rednecks as wolves, and they're coming in to steal the chickens.
That's the thing though, is that some of these characters are on screen and they come and go so quickly that like you could tell they wanted to have more personality in these wolves.
Yeah.
But you only see them for maybe collectively 3 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
So like there's an old wolf. There's the kind of the I'll get the turkey kind of angry wolf, and then there's the kind of smooth talking wolf. But they're really not. There's no real if there is any personality.
But for me, it's like I can understand like what they're trying to achieve with them.
Yeah.
And so
and there's but either way, he has these interactions, and Rover's not used to the farm.
Yeah.
So he interacts with these other weird farm animal creatures, like the wolves or the sheep or
the rooster,
or later on there's a turkey who's a really well animated, great another
that's a really well animated turkey.
Great turkey character. But the thing is, and I'll probably come back to this later, but when you watch a movie, there's a point where you're like, when you end the movie and you're left asking questions.
Yeah.
That's when you know there's something wrong with the movie. So there's a lot of questions that are asked, a lot to do with the other characters. Like in the case of we'll get into the turkey later, but there's this character who's this stuffy turkey who gets brought to the farm later in the movie, and then she's carrying this egg. Yeah. She's protecting this egg, but the egg disappears. There's no real use for the egg. So you're like, what was the point? Why does she need to be protective of this egg?
And here's another question. Okay, so we're getting to the point where it's like, okay, the farmer is like, I don't know if we need another dog on the farm, and the kid is really insistent to have this dog. You kind of wonder, it's like, why does this kid want this dog?
Why does he really want this dog?
And it's like, I was just thinking, it's like, I mean, he's a kid. Maybe he's just like, he really likes dogs.
I don't have nearly enough dogs, Dad.
I don't. Yeah, they already have like 5 of them.
I have some twin dogs. I got an old dog. I got a shaggy dog. But I don't have a fat, obese, nasty, wisecracking dog.
He's not fat, Dad.
He's not fat, Dad. And so, yeah, the son really loves the dog, but the father's very like, I don't know, son. This dog is pretty.
And it's kind of true, because like the next day he's very lazy. He doesn't like the food that they have, which like is. Okay, what the food that they eat is basically comes out of this bucket,
and it's a never-ending.
It's a never-ending bucket. This like bucket has like it's like a portal on the bottom of it that just brings this slop from some other dimension, I guess. Yeah. And it's like I don't know what it is, but it looks like diarrhea with corn in it.
You didn't have to say that.
Yeah. Oh. But it does.
It doesn't look very appetizing.
It's very unappetizing,
even for a dog.
Yeah.
So it just keeps going. Yeah. So anyway, he's not used to the farm.
He doesn't farm. He doesn't like to play with the kid, and the kid is still constantly insistent that he wants the dog.
He doesn't want to play anymore, Dad.
Well, put him to work.
Yeah. And he doesn't because he's a country guy, and he doesn't know. He's a city dog, and he doesn't know about farms and how to be simpatico with the other animals and with the people on the farm.
And while they're out with the sheep, he spots a dog next door sorry, did I wink to you when I said that?
I think you did.
Okay.
Oh, why? So anyway,
no, and it's like a collie dog. Like I guess she is
her name
neighbor's
is
dog.
Daisy.
Daisy.
I love you.
Like Daisy Duke and all that.
Or maybe just Daisy, like flowers.
the flower Daisy.
I don't think I have to bring a Daisy Dukes into this. There's nothing really... I mean, daisies are enough country.
I'm sorry. Sorry, suddenly going to the Dukes of Hazzard. This should have been like a Dukes of Hazzard movie where Rover just like meets these country bumpkins and they
ride in the General Lee.
Yeah.
Very entertaining movie. While Rodney Dangerfield makes
well, there's another thing I wanted to discuss with you about on the whole premise of this movie. But anyway, Rover meets up with Daisy, and it's like he's immediately smitten by her. Like, not so much as like a love at first sight sort of thing, more like, you know, he thinks he's a Casanova and he's trying to like, he's a fat schlub trying to like pick up on this woman, and she does not look interested whatsoever, even during this song. Like when he sings
I'd
give up a bone for you
because that's how much you mean to me.
And there's also some of the greatest expressions in this song.
It's again, the animators just threw away the model sheet.
Yeah.
Whoever, depending on who the director was. So in this particular scene, Rover is he talks a lot with his teeth, especially lower jaw.
Yeah.
Stuff. So you see, like, you come here often, and he makes this face where his veins pop out, and we laugh every time we see that scene. We can't help but just like freeze frame and look through it.
Yeah, but the entire time it's like he's supposed to be. I mean,
he's hitting
Daisy.
On this dog.
Yeah, he's hitting on this dog, and Daisy's supposed to be apparently smitten by this guy. But it's like you don't get that.
Yeah,
you don't get that.
Later, she like tries to comfort Rover. And
oh my god, yeah, that was the thing that didn't really make sense
to me.
Rover. Believe in yourself. I've known you for a long time. You just met
12 hours.
You just met 12 hours ago.
And the thing is, also,
you're not one to give up. Wait, he's given up the entire time.
The thing is, we have another thing to bring up, and this is about the whole movie, taking in the whole movie as a whole. Mm-hmm. The first 25 minutes of the movie and the last 15 minutes of the movie are pretty solidified. Then there's a point in the middle of the movie where it's very, very, very segmented. There's a lot of different sequences. They cut and they go away. And you could tell that maybe there's probably other sequences that are gone. So there's like, apparently, it looks like there was times where we watched, it's like, was there supposed to be a scene here that got cut?
Yeah.
Because this is like,
I guess while he's in the country, there is the time has gone from like 6 months, I guess.
Because it's summer, and then it goes to fall, then it goes to winter.
And then it goes back to spring again, I guess, near the end of it. So, yeah, there's a noticeable time that goes by. But in the beginning of this, it's like things happen day by day on the, you know, so, and Daisy is just like... The next time they interact, it just seems like Daisy has known Rover for a really long time. But she has just met him like a couple hours ago. And it is really... And this is the scene where Rover is like in his midlife crisis. He's just like, oh, I don't belong anywhere. I don't belong anywhere.
I gotta get out of here.
I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna run away. I'm a dog.
I'm
a dog.
It always just comes back to, I'm a dog. Help. Please, I'm a dog. No.
Yeah, there's like a really long sequence of him just being depressed and like knocking on anywhere.
Himself. No one wants me.
No one wants me. Yeah, you dumb mutt. A dumb mutt. That's all I am. I'm a dumb mutt.
Oh, we forgot another thing. When he first comes to the farm, he goes to bed and he sings a song.
Oh, I forgot about that song.
And he sings a song where, it sounds like a song that's...
Somewhere there's a party.
Laughter and champagne.
Yeah, he shakes. He shakes. Visually shakes.
It's supposed to be like a subtle, like, shake.
Yeah.
Like that kind of singing. But they animated it so... And it's well animated, except he's having spasms. Yeah. Maybe
looks like each verse is just like a seizure.
Apparently, according to sources that I will not mention,
yeah,
they recorded Rodney recording his dialogue in the booth when he did his stuff. So who knows? Maybe he actually shook up like a lot when he recorded, and they put it in the animation.
He shook a lot
He shook a lot when he sang. Somewhere there's a party. But yeah, that was just we forgot that song because it's another kind of all the songs in the movie. It's probably one of the better songs because it's not like the lyrics are a little more clever and there's a little bit more emotion, but the other ones are just sort of like, I'm a dog, I'm here, I'm there. Like, it's just very, like, you rhyme words, like, more, this one, before, sore.
Yeah. Well, when
Dr. Seuss.
I think we've... Well, when... We've talked about this before, and I think it's like we've discussed it before about songs in movies where it's like it needs to not basically be about the story, like it moves the story along, but it doesn't necessarily have to be generally what is very obvious.
Yeah. Like, I could tell, like, I mean,
the song, like Somewhere There's a Party, it's like, we understand that Rover is very sad, he misses Las Vegas, and this isn't like, you know, one of those things where he sings like, I miss Las Vegas. No, this is something like, Somewhere There's a Party, laughter and champagne.
I wish I was there.
That's subtlety.
It's enough. It's hitting.
It evokes more emotion.
Because he's singing about what he misses about Vegas, but he's not. He's not being literal with it.
Right. Yeah.
He's not like, I want legs. Or whatever.
I want legs. So someone, they'd cut me, Charlie.
No, but you get the idea. Like, but then there's some songs that don't quite work. And one of them that comes up later, because we have a montage where he...
Yeah, we have a montage where it's like all of a sudden he's motivated because suddenly Daisy says, like,
if you believe in me, Daisy, I could do anything.
I believe in you. I've known you my entire life, and you have never given up on your life. You're right, Daisy. I'm gonna be a better dog. And then it goes to the montage, and he's generally
playing with the boy.
He's generally being a better dog on the farm, and he's obviously, even though he's like visually out of shape, he is doing
more shape than some of the other dogs on the farm. And the other dogs get tired. It's like, what? And
all of a sudden, it's like, it's wintertime.
It's Christmas time.
It's Christmas time.
And they're out looking for a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And here comes... When most people discuss this movie, they usually bring up this scene. He sings a song about how he would never piss on a Christmas tree, and it's a lot of euphemistic, like,
right. It's like
language.
I'm sure, like, well, have we talked about how this movie was originally going to be?
Apparently, the movie was supposed to be an R-rated movie, and they were starting it in the mid '80s.
Yeah,
and they wanted to make it something in the vein of like a Ralph Bakshi movie.
Well, maybe not so much that, but more like in the lieu of like a Rodney Dangerfield movie.
Yeah,
because he has like that very adult humor, and it's like if you've seen his movies before, you would understand. And it's like all of a sudden it became this kids movie. And
probably post Mermaid, we're like, look at this movie made millions of dollars and is singing and dancing and cute animals.
And there are probably things like, oh, we gotta like soften this up. Somewhere in there, they suddenly decided, it's like, oh, we gotta make this for more of a general audience. And that probably kind of stunted their vision, like their true vision of this movie. Like, I'm sure they had stuff.
I would have loved to have read a script for the original movie or something.
I would, because Harold Ramis
co-wrote
this movie
with Rodney Dangerfield.
With Rodney, and it's like that. Something happened.
Yeah.
Something happened, because like those are really they're great writers.
They would not water themselves down after doing the kind of movies that they did up to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So for them to do like cutesy corn dog jokes and cute little animal jokes, I don't know. I mean, there's jokes at the Animators Plus and the Board Artists Plus based on the script.
Yeah,
and then there's stuff that's like, well, this stuff is very. I don't want to say tame. It's just it's not quite the type of humor that Rodney would do. It's not his shtick. Yeah, and it got really But so it's Christmas time and he sings this song about never doing it on a Christmas tree.
Yeah, it goes on forever,
and it's well animated, and the shot.
The scene does not
stop. It doesn't cut.
It doesn't cut. There's no cut within this entire song.
Like, backgrounds are replaced during the scene
pretty cleverly. I mean, like when the camera shifts, it basically goes left to right, like a lot.
Yeah.
So it moves with Rover wherever he is moving to the song, and then it's like, and then it moves to the left, and then goes to the right, and we see that there's a background change, and then it goes back to the left, and we
he's
see
dancing the whole time.
Yeah, it's.
really well done. I mean, imagine whoever animated it was just. I think it's Bruce Smith.
It is very. I mean, it's
his
done.
model.
It's well done as scene, but this song, God, it's just. It's about him not wanting to piss on.
I'll soak it oak, I'll splash it ash. I'll do it on a beach or cherry. Like it's so like.
It's
and it's also the part where you're like, is this a
I mean,
Christmas
it's
movie?
so juvenile that it's like it's funny, but at the same time, it's like it's. I don't know if it's necessarily. It just keeps going that it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, and also, I mean, and this is the moment where you're like, is this a Christmas movie?
Yes, that is what I asked you. I was like, are we to assume now that this movie has just become a Christmas movie? Yeah. And really, that's like the only mention of Christmas in the entire time, except for, I guess, when the turkey is around. And
yeah, it's like you probably won't make it till Christmas.
Yeah.
But so they have this, and then that night. I guess it's supposedly Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or one of those, depending on, or before Christmas or whatever. You don't know. They're trimming a tree. They cut down a tree and they put it in the house. Yeah. That night, clearly Rover and Daisy did something. And you hear
they're on a blanket on a haystack,
in the barn,
and Rover has like his leg right over Daisy, just like it like they
subtle,
very subtle, like afterglow imagery there.
So, but he hears, and the wolves are back.
The wolves are back,
and they're to attack the turkey.
They're gonna eat the turkey,
and so Rover guards. He tries to save the turkey.
Yeah, Rover is like the only one that wakes up to these howls, I guess.
Yeah, and none of the other dogs are there. The chickens don't cluck or anything.
Yeah, Daisy doesn't give a crap. She's
sleeping.
She's sleeping it off.
She's a heavy sleeper. And after that, after doing it with Rodney Dangerfield,
and then there's this scene where Rover is chasing the wolves who are chasing the turkey. And there is a moment where you see the wolves kind of like gathered up at a moment. And it looks like they just like slashed something.
Yeah.
And then it's like Rover comes in and like, I guess like hits them off, crashes them away.
He distracts them.
Yeah.
And he says, keep your mitts off the turkey. And then suddenly the farmer comes out with a gun.
Yeah.
And scares the wolves away. And he's like, oh, that was close. Goes up to the turkey. The turkey's fucking dead.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very cold. It's a very cold. I mean, even like I've shown this movie to people. When that scene comes up where the turkey's dead and the neck is limp.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't bother me so much.
It doesn't bother me.
Because it wasn't attached to that character at all.
No.
But when people watch this movie that I've watched with, they all said, and even your friends said the same thing. They were like, she was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's really like, what the fuck?
Are you serious?
Yeah, and then he does this whole maudlin bit of him like trying to resuscitate.
Yeah.
And even the farmer is just looking like,
oh my God.
Like that's awful. Oh. And so the farmer
I guess they don't have to worry about killing it because now they can eat the turkey.
Yeah, now. But
put it in the freezer.
The farmer decides this is now you've gone too far. Even though you've been on even though he's been really good, 4 and 5 months have passed, and he's been doing really good on the farm. He's great with the kid. He's great with the mom. He's great with everybody. He still is like, I don't know about that dog.
Listen, you killed the turkey. You got to die.
I've been just looking for an excuse.
And this is the moment.
And this is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, this is the moment where I think like, hey, let's have a scene like Old Yeller with Rodney Dangerfield.
I don't want to go.
I don't want to go. Did you hear from the governor?
Weird. So he's dragged off into the woods to be shot.
Yeah.
By the farmer.
Mm-hmm. And there's a moment where it's like the farmer feels like, maybe I shouldn't do this.
And then suddenly wolves.
Suddenly wolves, yeah. And the farmer's attacked by wolves, and then Rover is about to run away, but then he comes back and he like beats up the wolves. Like,
and he says some really bad
fairy tale puns. Like, you'd rather be at grandma's house.
Yeah, and then there's this really crazy slapstick moment where they're going downhill with a log, and you just hear like, arr, arr, arr! And then they crash, and there's this really great animation of the wolf going and getting smashed.
Just like this frightened, like the
face of
this wolf,
imminent doom.
This wolf knows it's gonna die.
It reminds me of, do you remember Fievel Goes West?
Oh, yeah.
There's a scene where this menacing falcon takes Fievel up, and then the Indians shoot fireworks at it.
Yeah.
And there's that scene where he's just like, and he just looks like a cartoon bird. It just looks like that.
Yeah.
And it's really funny.
I remember that scene. And it's something like that, where he's just a close-up of a wolf and is freaking out.
And so
he basically saved the farmer. He goes back to get the other dogs, and they at this point we were just joking. It's like, hey, come on guys, we're free, yay! Let's go sledding.
But they go back and they save the farmer, and Rover is a hero.
Rover saved me.
Yeah, very central. Rover saved me.
It's like, no,
really? Did you think?
No, hang on. You passed out drunk.
No,
and he didn't shoot the dog.
Yeah, but so Rover becomes a hero. His picture's in the paper, and then Eddie sees Rover's picture on a newspaper. Hey, that's my paper.
Because apparently this is local Las Vegas news.
Yeah, it's national news of about a dog saving a man's life.
I guess so. Yeah.
So Eddie finds it and shows Connie, and Connie comes to pick up Rover. But on the way to pick up Rover, Rover sings this song. About I'm in love with the dog next door. Something, it hasn't happened before.
See, these things... God, these songs. The thing about these songs is that they're so simplistic that they're memorable. And
That's a good way of putting it. They're so forgettable, but they're so simple that they're memorable.
It's like... Sometimes I can't get these songs out of my head after I watch the movie because it's like, my God,
they're so simple that anybody could sing them.
Anyone could have made these songs.
Shit.
So he's talking about how much he loves Daisy and this dog.
2 seconds later,
and then
you gotta take you home, boy.
And take your boy, and he's like very
excited.
Yeah, very excited, like very insensitively excited, like right in front of Daisy. And so it's like, oh, Daisy, you don't understand. I gotta go back.
Connie gave me my tie. I gotta go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's his reasoning.
She
gave me my tie.
And so...
It apparently has my name on it.
They part ways, and Rover's really sad. Then he goes back to Vegas, and everything's hunky-dory.
Sort of. And he's like, there's that moment where he's talking to all the dogs.
And it's just like in the beginning of the movie where he makes a very... flat Rodney Dangerfield joke, and everyone's laughing hysterically.
Yeah, and then it's like the next morning, and he's
but Rocky shows up.
Rocky shows
up. Rover's there, and
that's right.
He's surprised.
Yeah,
and then it's revealed that he
Rover
tried to kill Rover.
Rover charges Rocky, and it's like, I thought I got rid of you, and then Connie's like, got rid of you, and then she hits him hard, and I was like, it's like. Yeah, and right on, woman.
he's about to beat up Connie, and then the dogs step in and chase. And there's a great one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Is Rover and these other dogs chase Rocky through the casino, and they get through the casino, and then there's an entranceway to the casino. And there's this couple coming in.
You see them through the window.
He goes, and then you just push the door open, and you just, bam, they're gone. They just get shoved off screen.
2 frames, not even...
Just gone. And it's so funny. It makes
because they look like they're having a great time looking at each other. And then they just... They're right across a block.
They got sent over the Sunset Strip. So, and then Rocky jumps into... a car where these gangsters are. I mean,
Rocky in here. It's like, I guess they were waiting for him.
Because the thing is, we don't know what has happened with Rocky.
No,
since he dumped Rover over the dam.
But it's the guys that he met in the beginning.
And then even there's a moment where Rocky's like, "What are you doing here?" And we're like, "Yeah, what are you doing here?"
That's a good question.
Yeah, and then he's like, "This is a setup. You want to see Hoover Dam?" And they're gonna kill Rocky, which I guess is justified.
Yeah,
it's kind of Deus Ex Mafia.
Oh. No,
this movie has rubbed off on me.
Oh,
hey, it's like Deus Ex Mafia.
Mafia.
They just come in and just kill him. That's the end of Rocky.
Yeah, they pretty much killed.
Yeah. And now Rover is kind of bummed. He's at home in front of the TV and he's bored and he hasn't eaten in days. And Connie decides to say, "Is there someone you miss back on the farm?" And he gets
excited. Yeah,
and he goes back to the farm.
That's basically the clue. Yes, yeah. I miss someone.
Yeah, and he's looking for Daisy, and he doesn't find her. And then he speaks his heart out,
talking to himself.
When Connie called, I wasn't even thinking, and I missed you. Were all I thought about, Daisy. You're the only girl for me. And they patch things together, and they welcome them back. And then Connie gives Rover to the farmer. Yeah. So he's now on the farm for good. And it's funny because like the other dogs at home think he's just going away on a trip. And he's like, "So when's Rover coming back?" He's never coming back. And he's like,
"Oh." All the other dogs just like, wow, things just aren't the same without.
And now suddenly Eddie is staying with Connie.
Oh yeah,
which is weird.
It's not her dog, right?
No, I guess. Well, now she's got a new dog. So it's okay. Everything's all right.
Yeah, we never really know because like the dog's out in the street, and he's just like he's leering at like women.
And why is Connie like? Is she like a Disney princess story that we're not watching, where she could talk to all the stray dogs of Vegas?
She's the girl from Showgirls, like.
And she's like, "Eddie, hi." And
hi, Eddie.
The dogs just are friendly with Connie.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because she has dogs like in her
dressing room. She has a welcome back party for Rover. Invites all the dogs, and she's the only person there.
Yeah.
So she's got this weird kinship with dogs, I guess.
Yeah.
In this movie,
she's like the crazy cat lady from Aristocats.
Oh yeah. She's gonna give all her showgirl money to Rover to spend on bones and
all that showgirl money.
All that petty money.
Oh yeah.
So Rover goes back to the farm and he discovers that he freaking knocked up Daisy and left a bunch of mini Rover Dangerfield puppies.
Like Rover Dangerfield, like complete with ties.
And they all have ties.
They all have ties. It's like they were born with them.
Yeah.
And there's 5 of them. There's 5 Rovers.
There's 6 Rovers. No, there's 5. There's 5 Rovers and one Connie. Tiny Daisy.
Or Daisy. Connie. Oh my God. Oh, jeez. That would have been a way different movie.
There's only 2 female characters. I mean, besides the turkey and the chicken, there's really 2
and the
real
mom.
Female and the mom, but they don't count.
They're not really there anymore.
They're tropey characters, and then you have Connie and you have Daisy.
Yeah,
it's a very
it's a sausage fest. It's a doghouse.
That movie. So anyway, and then the movie ends with him walking into the distance, and with the puppies and Daisy, and that's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie.
And this movie, it's so fun.
Oh, it ends with like. It's like, "Oh, I'm gonna catch you." No, you're not gonna catch me. I'm gonna catch you.
I want to catch you. I'll catch you.
And I'm wondering, like,
what does that mean?
Is that like a reference to something?
Am I just really lazy and I'm playing hard to get?
Is that something that Rodney Dangerfield says? Is that...
I don't know.
Is that a joke? No, it's not. It's kind of like a really, honestly, creepy way to end the movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, so I just... Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's funny. And then you look at the credits, and like Rodney's name appears like 8 or 9 separate times in the credits. Voice,
not including
singing,
the music,
producing, writing the songs,
singing the songs,
writing the screenplay based on it's a concept story by Rodney Dangerfield and Harold Ramis based on an idea by Rodney Dangerfield, which is the idea is just it deserves screen credit. Hey, Harold, get this. Me as a dog. Is that funny?
Very rarely have I seen a credit like that based on an idea. I've really what other self credit can that be? But yeah, that's
really the movie. I mean, that's really it. And it's funny, like, again...
Well, it's like, okay.
I've seen this movie more times than most people would care to see it.
Same
because,
here.
And do you know why? Partially because I love watching people watch
their reactions
to this movie. Like, what? Really? This movie happened?
It's the same with me and Rockadoodle, honestly, because I like seeing other people's reactions to that, because that's a movie that I actually enjoy, but I love seeing what other people
The thing about this movie, though, is that it's really... well animated.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful movie.
I mean,
it just so happens to be about Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that all the models on Rover are really not really that consistent, still when he's on the screen, he's animated really well. I mean, it's like it's oh my God.
Did you just really? Because how many times have you seen this movie? Thanks to me, Andrew. This is probably your 3rd time.
You know, honestly, it's like I don't. because when I had Cartoon Network, this would show up like almost every other week. It really would. It's like they didn't really have like a whole lot of animated movies to show.
It was
like,
okay, Twice Upon a Time, or Hey There, it's Yogi Bear.
Oh God, I would have loved Twice Upon a Time more than this. Honestly,
it was on It was on that.
I know it was, but it's like I saw that less than I did Rover Dangerfield. Sadly, and. But yeah, I remember renting this movie. I saw it that time, and I was like, okay, I think I've experienced that. And then it was on TV a bunch of times, and then we would watch it together with other folks, and it's just like, every time we think about watching it, or you think about watching it, I just think to myself, like, okay.
I have some friends.
How long is this movie?
I have some friends who know that about my weird Rover Dangerfield obsession, and it sounds. I mean, this is probably my big. I mean, I have many flaws.
Yeah,
I am human, but this is definitely one of those. Like, Michael is pretty normal, but he does really somehow likes to talk or watch this movie and discuss it with people. But I know some people who are like, "Hey, when are we going to watch this movie?"
Well, it's honestly like me with Osmosis Jones. I mean, it's like when there's a movie that a lot of people don't really appreciate as much as I do. It's like I like to get into it and I like to talk about it. It's like, because it's like it's good to get that other perspective out there sometimes. And like maybe some people don't like that, but I honestly, it's good if there's like that discussion of someone who is not like totally completely hating this movie. You know, it's like it's like now we can finally see why some people like this movie. And me personally, I can't really say that I like this movie. I wanted to ask you this question. What would you think of this movie if it just stayed in Las Vegas? Because I know this is like a
yeah, you brought that up before,
like an out of, what is it, fish out of water story. And I was just thinking, it's like, you know, with all the Las Vegas elements to it and the whole thing with Rocky and everything, it's like I almost feel like this could have been kind of like compelling if it was in Vegas.
The dog in the middle of a crime.
Yeah, and like he's like a witness to a crime or something, and it's like
the thing is, I don't know, like the fact that there's a big contrast between this, you know, Rodney or Rover Dangerfield with his city shtick being out of water. Like, I mean, it's been done a million times over about a character that's a fish out of water and doesn't belong and learns to belong,
right?
And finds out what's really important in life,
yeah,
which is Daisy. But
so that makes that element of the countryside just makes it a simplistic story.
Yeah, so, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I could see what you mean. Like, if it was more like, what was the thing that Jim Henson did, Dog City?
Yes,
if it was something like that, where it was just Rover is a dog, and he witnesses a murder or witnesses a crime, and he's got to get himself out of it. Mm-hmm. That probably would seem more like a Rodney Dangerfield movie.
It would, yeah. It would leave a lot of good comedy shtick, because honestly, this movie is like a romantic comedy, and it's like I don't see the romantic element to it. I just, it's hard to really see this schlubby dog wooing in the course of
what
like
Daisy
5 minutes.
Rover?
Yeah, what does Daisy see in this dog? And
no other dog is as round and obese as
there's so many dogs in this country, but you're different. You really show me what it's like to, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like I really would have liked to have seen a different kind of setting for this movie. I would have liked to have seen it more as like not a romantic. I mean, there could be a romantic element to it, but it shouldn't be the focus of it.
Like, I would have loved to have seen just Rodney or Rover, whatever. Rodney, who cares? It's the same character.
Rodney Roverfield.
Rodney Roverfield. So it doesn't matter. I mean, all that matters is that he's doing. I mean, that's really the center of the movie. It's just him doing the shtick and doing his thing. Like, it would have worked in any situation. He could be could have been
a lawyer.
I don't know. I find a defendant guilty of being a dog, or whatever. Yeah, you know, and
but it just brings kind of like an interesting question. It's like, you know, when we talked about what will we do to fix it, and there are ways to fix the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think it would have been a much more interesting story if it was something that was more like, you know, how would Rodney Dangerfield and Harold Ramis do a movie about him as an animated movie
Mm-hmm.
of starring Rodney Dangerfield. But if it was in the seedy, dark kind of thing of... originally this was supposed to be an R-rated animated film.
Yeah.
And then
And
this
it kind of makes me wonder if, like, how they would have handled it if they didn't have that restriction.
Yeah, and I don't even know what the restriction was. Was it
no,
because
we don't, because I don't know if there's anyone
I would love
who
to
could
know
really
more about it.
Talk about it. And it's like, and sadly, we can't ask Rodney or Harold about this because probably no one...
The only people that
before they passed on, it's like I'm sure no one even wanted to mention it to them. I'm sure no one even wanted. They didn't even want to talk about this movie.
That's how most kids know. I mean, if it's not the genie cameo, the genie impression, it's from this movie. That's that's the only way kids would know about Rodney Dangerfield was because of this movie.
Yeah, or like a caricature in a cartoon. Or something
which
like
most
that.
people don't do anymore.
No,
because it's past its shtick. The shtick is over,
and it kind of dates it. You know?
It does.
Like,
date
it really makes the things dated because like when you want to see a movie, it's like it's great that you can see the actor play a character that is. Well, it's them. It's like sometimes actors are the character, you know. It's like and there are some actors who are very good at creating a character. So with this, it's like it's cool that we have a movie that can star Rodney Dangerfield as a dog. It's like I don't know where I'm going with this.
I mean, it's still intriguing that I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so, for some reason, interested in just the production of this movie. You look at what movies came out around the same time. American Tail 2, obviously a sequel. Same year as Beauty and the Beast, and it was around that time period of the influx of Bebe's Kids. I think came out around that same time, and all those things. And you're like, this is definitely a different time. And was it just Rodney? I mean, if it started as an R-rated movie, it clearly wasn't Rodney saying, "I want to appeal to children."
Yeah,
it's something else. But at the same time, it's this is really a sign of what would be led up in the future. Now people make animated movies for adults now.
Yeah.
And that really this could have been an animated movie for adults. And I'd love to know the process. I want to know what went into this movie. Because obviously love and care and a lot of hard work went into it because it's a beautiful looking movie.
No, it's funny that we because you've talked to people about this and we've also read interviews about the movie and the people who involved with it, it really shows that it's better to work on something that you've had a good time in and it's a bad movie. It's like
I've heard so many stories about people who work on shows that are amazing. They're well written. They're beautiful. They take the world by storm. But the production is the most horrible,
and they have a miserable
abusive,
time playing.
Miserable time.
Yeah, and it's like and it's also destructive as well because sometimes these artists don't really want to talk about it, but there is this fan base out there that just like loves to like talk about it, and once they know someone who's worked on it, they go like, "Oh, how was it working on this, and this, and this, and it's like they kind of have to keep their mouth shut, you know? It's like
be polite.
They have to be polite.
I know a lot of people who are like that. We're like, "Oh yeah,
yeah." It's like,
I mean, I have my own stories, and everybody has their own stories of working on something that isn't great. That wasn't a fun experience.
No.
But then you look at movies like you worked on that show,
right?
Oh, what was that like?
And
everyone says the same thing. Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's
great
like
people.
Yeah,
I worked with some really fun people. They're still my friends. I still talk to them.
And I love it because it's like it's establishing relationships with other artists and stuff. It's like it's behind the scenes stuff that is like really fun about it.
It's like that's why, and I learned
it's like they don't care if it's a bad movie.
Right.
They had their fun and they can laugh at it.
Right.
You know,
and that's what I would love to do. I don't care if I work on anything that's really spectacular. I mean, if it's spectacular, great. That's a bonus. But really, all that matters to me is that I do something that I love to do. I mean, obviously you're getting paid for it.
Right.
But I want to do something and work with really fun, creative people and have a great time. Because there's nothing worse than having to get up and go to work and hate your job. So, wouldn't it be great to go to work and they're like, oh, I can't wait to talk to this person today at lunch, or I can't wait to see what they're working on. They're doing a great scene today.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie is terrible, but at least we're all working on it together and
we're making the most of it.
And here's a fun story. I have a story here. If anyone knows Jeff Smith, he created the comic Bone, the famous graphic novel Bone, which is it's one of my favorites. Yeah. For a while in the 90s, in the late 80s, early 90s, he started a studio called Character Builders with a bunch of other guys in Ohio, in Columbus. And he did a lot of commercials with people and stuff, but at the same time, they also did a lot of work for like, satellite studios doing some work for big pictures to get stuff out. And here's what he said. This is quoted from an interview with the Comics Journal. We slowly started doing more regional commercials, bigger and bigger spots. Then we started to take farm-out work for feature films out of Hollywood. The first one we did was for Paramount, working on Rover Dangerfield, which was Rodney Dangerfield being a voice of a dog. A really bad movie. Yeah. We worked on a lot of those, but it was fun. Once we got the job, they sent us a big stack of model sheets to show us what Rover looked like from all different sides. We would have to do storyboards from the script. They'd approve them. Sometimes they'd do the keyframes and send them to us to fill in between. Sometimes they did the keyframes and sent them somewhere else. As the project went along, they gave us more responsibility. It was a lot of fun. The movie was terrible, but it was exciting to us. So, like, you could tell that, like, they had a good time. Like, they were doing stuff, and they were being more creative. They had more freedom, which explains a lot of parts about the movie, that it does feel like the movie was farmed out. I mean, looking at the credits, there was stuff farmed out to Bluth for filming. Yeah. There was stuff, Dale Baer's studio, Dale Baer is a really great animator. Still at Disney. He's probably the longest animator there at the studio. I mean, he worked on Robin Hood back in the day, and now he's still at the studio doing animation over there. And people like that, and there's a whole bunch of different studios. Wang Films did some animation on it, or at least some cell painting or something. And and there's so many people working on this movie, and I love finding out, like, oh my god, so and so worked on this movie. Wow, everybody's on this movie.
Yeah, there was a lot of recognizable names.
I mean, in terms of for us, we totally love to know about what animators are doing and what's.
And it's always nice seeing like a recognizable name. And it's like, oh, hey, I know that guy. And
so and so worked on this movie.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nuts. Like, I worked with a guy, and I had no idea until near the end that he was like a layout guy on Rover Dangerfield, and he was an animator on it. And I'm like, holy freaking cow! Yeah, a friend of mine worked on it. I was like, he worked on it. Early on in his career, and like, I love hearing stories about people working together and meeting people and saying, like, oh, I first met this guy on this movie.
And I think for, like, because we're in the industry, it's it's good for us to, like, see this kind of stuff. So it's like, well, it's just fun.
Yeah. So why don't we go to let's talk about the good and
the best and the worst. Let's talk about the best and the worst. All right, Mike, what would you say is let's start with the best. What do you think is the best thing about this movie?
I think the animation is pretty spectacular all around. I think it's really good. I mean, Rodney's dialogue hits and misses, but I like Rodney Dangerfield. I think he's a funny comedian, and some of this, when his stuff hits, it's funny. When it doesn't, it really
it falls flat. It's like a stand-up comedian.
It really is. Like, not all their material.
Not every material is going to be gold.
Yeah. So I like that. I think there are great sequences in the movie and stuff. And I think overall it's it's entertaining, at least in these moments of it where you're like, yeah. But overall, you're entertained just by the concept. I mean, that's why I love it so much. I'm entertained by the concept of, oh wow, they spent a lot of money, obviously a lot of money, on making a movie about Rodney Dangerfield as a dog. Yeah. And this is it. And this is not bad. It's not. No. It's not. Yeah. It's not a great movie. I mean, it would be kind of lean to say that it's a good movie. Yeah. It's not. It's just. But it's entertaining.
Yeah. And the best thing for me, honestly, is that Tress MacNeille chicken. I just find it really. The animation on her is.
She does
really
a lot of
funny.
voices in the movie.
She does. Oh yeah. There's a ton of voices that she does.
She does one of the dogs at the canine, the show dogs. Mm-hmm. She does the turkey. She does the chicken. She does one or two of the strippers.
The strippers.
No, it probably was originally strippers.
Yeah, probably. No, one of the showgirls. Yeah. Probably. I really like that chicken. I don't know. She's just a very funny caricature of a country person. And and I like that dynamic with the rooster, where it's like a really skinny rooster.
It's really henpecked, as they say in the movie.
Yeah. And as for the worst,
for me, when the jokes don't hit, you're like, whoa, really? What? And I guess part of the worst for me isn't what. I mean, there's things about it that are bad. But for me, after talking about what this movie could have been, it's kind of disappointing when you watch the movie and say, oh, this could have been a really adult, interesting, adult animated film. Mm-hmm. What could it have been? And you're kind of disappointed knowing that you'll never see that. Yeah. And they had to not settle, but they said, oh, it's a simple story about Rover Dangerfield on a farm.
Yeah.
And trying to, and there's, I think, it's weird. The backgrounds, as beautiful as they are, remind me of just Hallmark cards. They're very primary. Yeah. I mean, they're beautiful, but it's
pretty simple. Nothing really pops out.
But really, the fact that Rover's model changes from scene to scene is kind of distracting. From an animation point of view, it's fun to watch. You're like, hey, he looks like a basset hound. Now he looks like a pile. Now he just looks like a pile of laundry.
Yeah.
And you just see him change.
It's a sack of potatoes.
A sack of manure. And you just see him go through all these different changes. And it's kind of distracting if you're just watching it. It's like, why does Rover now look really off?
Yeah.
And then you see him and, But overall, I think, it's the joke's not hitting. And the songs, the songs are pretty bad.
Well, yeah, the worst thing for me, honestly, is the romantic element of this movie, because it just falls flat for me. And it's not really the whole concept of this fat schlub getting it on with this dog, this like very
very
beautiful,
effeminate
I guess,
collie.
Effeminate, beautiful dog. I guess, like, if
she could have any dog.
Yeah, she could have any dog. Like,
but she chose the Fred Flintstone of dogs.
It's funny. Yeah, it's even funny. It's like when Rover is going out to be shot, Raffles comes to console her, and it's like there's almost that moment. It's like, okay, we're the couple now. I was like,
I'll console you.
I'll console you.
Rebound.
Rebound. Yeah. But yeah, it's not so much as that I don't really see that dynamic working. It's just the way the movie panned out. It's just, it didn't feel romantic to me. It just didn't. I think there was like a moment where Rodney thought, was like, oh, this is how you get chicks. And I really didn't work out, and it just seemed so forced as well.
Yeah, it did.
That's the problem with it. Is if a romance seems forced, and it's like it's still one of those love at first sight sort of things, I can't get behind that romance. It falls so flat.
That is, you're right. It is probably one of the weakest points in the movie.
Yeah. So
and
honestly, if it didn't have any focus on that, it still would have been a good movie. I mean, like a good story. That it's just I just can't see it. So really, that's all we can really say about Rodney Dangerfield, unless you have something else to add, Mike, because I'm sure
I actually just read the back of this DVD case, and I'm laughing internally.
Here we go.
Let me read it. Have you read this?
No, I haven't. Go ahead, please.
Because there's so many things that this makes me laugh just reading it. This is how it begins. You know the voice, the mannerisms, the red necktie, and you'll laugh. Rover Dangerfield.
By default.
Rover Dangerfield. Written by Rodney Dangerfield and featuring his inimitatable voice. Now, hold on a second.
What?
It's the most imitatable, hey, look at me, I'm a dog. Yeah. That's not inimitatable. Yeah. That is imitatable.
It's been proven several times in cartoons.
His inimitable voice talents, meaning voice, just one voice that he does, is a cartoon fan's best friend. The makers of the Brave Little Toaster team with the comedy legend for this tune.
Wait, it says that?
Yeah.
Really?
It does. It says it.
Wow.
It says the team with the comedy legend for this tuneful. There happens to be tunes in it. We're not saying that they're good. There are tunes.
I think this is tune-filled.
Tuneful all-family treat about a brave little dog. No, he's fat. He's a big frickin' dog.
We didn't talk about all the moments where it's like the characters' sizes were very different.
Times where
there were moments
he would swallow Daisy whole in any of those scenes.
Well, there were even moments where it's like the kid looked like he was huge compared to his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
here we
go.
Anyway,
the tuneful crap.
It's is an all-family treat about a brave little dog whose every move and joke is purest.
The brave little dogster.
No, whose every move and joke is purest Rodney. Captured as the funny man was filmed recording his lines so the animators could recreate his uproarious personality.
What?
It says it on the box. We meet Rover in Las Vegas, living the good life of a high-rolling hound. But win some, lose some, he's transplanted to a farm where he gets the barnyard blues. Soon, he has new friends and adventures, setting up and begging the question of whether the pooch will will be truly happy in his new home. Find out by calling Rover over. Okay, so
Wait.
they spent like maybe 2 sentences describing the movie and then saying, hey, instead of talking about how great the movie is and selling you, we're just saying what they did to make this movie. We recorded Rodney's mannerisms so we could copy them for this movie as him as a dog, which is weird. I mean, this is the archive collection of Rover. Maybe it's because it's the archive collection. This isn't meant for kids. This is meant for people who want to complete their archive collections. Yeah. Which is sort of a strange...
Which begs the question, where's the one for Cats Don't Dance?
Where's the one... I mean, we're waiting for the one for Twice Upon a Time.
Yeah.
We heard about it. That's the movie...
We're really waiting for that a long time now.
So this movie is definitely... Oh, I love this.
Okay.
4 stars. A visually stunning animated musical. It has heart and wit and honest delight.
4 stars?
4 stars. And it's a stunning animated musical. Stunning.
Okay.
I think we should end it.
Yeah, I think we've said all there is.
Take my word for it.
I'm not even
watch Rover Dangerfield.
Oh
you will not regret it.
Yeah. Wow, man.
We've been waiting since before we started. I've been waiting. I mean,
you've been waiting. I've been dreading it.
This is our 11th show, and I've been waiting every time to wait.
Yeah.
Michael, do you just want to do this movie and get it over with?
Yeah, you were shaking. Look at
you're like, do you want to just do Rover Dangerfield? Because originally we had a different plan for today.
Yeah,
and he's just like, oh, plans fell through. Do you want to just do Rover Dangerfield? And he texted
you
me.
You exploded. It's like I heard an explosion in the distance, and then you texted yes.
Yes. Are you sure?
And then another explosion happened. And
yes.
Yeah.
You know. But so that's really it with Rover Dangerfield.
Yeah, that's Rover Dangerfield. If you really feel... Honestly, it's like this is the most screen-capped movie that we can think of for ourselves that we've really... Like, there's a lot of really great moments. Like just out-of-context moments as well. Just looking at this stuff and admiring all the wonderful drawings of this. But yes, that is our analysis of Rover Dangerfield. I think you could know by now that we kind of I'll leave it at that. You can find us on Facebook. We are at facebook.com /animated-anarchy-cast. That would be the best way to reach us. You can ask us questions, and we will also post our future podcasts. And that's about it. And also, you can follow us on iTunes and Stitcher. And that's my phone.
Nice.
Anyway. Okay, it'll go. You can also you can follow us also on iTunes and Stitcher, and please leave us a favorable review if you've liked our podcast, and even if you didn't, give us a favorable review because that would be an awesome thing to do. And also we're on Twitter. I am at AWD Twit.
What does this dog skeleton look like? I'm sorry, I'm looking at the TV cover and I'm wondering.
It's just like holding up the DVD to your face and analyzing it. Like, even while I'm like...
You're trying to do I'm sorry.
And Mike is at a guy who draws. And you can reach us there. But the best way to ask us questions about the show is to go to Animated Anarchy Cast on Facebook. So thank you so much. That was our review of Rover Dangerfield. I am Andrew Dickman.
And I'm really happy we did this review. And I'm Mike Ruocco.
We will see you next time. Thank you so much.
On the other side of Vegas. I'm going. I'm gone. I'm gone. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. No.
Did you hear from the governor?
Oh,
shit. It's a cat's life and he hates it.
I just burped. I'm so sorry. What a great way to start this thing. Hold on.